Okay, very good afternoon, all participants. In afternoon session, today we have with us Dr. P.R. Vavia, sir. I will introduce sir. Sir is going to talk on the topic that is accreditation assessment criteria, RISE, that is research, innovation, consultancy, and extension. I'll just I will give brief information about the sir. As per educational qualification concern, sir has done almost all whatever education qualifications from University of Mumbai. In 1991, 1991 sir has did PhD. In 1987, M.Pharm, 1985, B.Pharm. Followed by as per work experience is concerned, sir is life member of Indian Pharmaceutical Association. Sir was president from 2002 to 2004 at Indian Pharmaceutical Association, Maharashtra State Branch. Then Sir was member Association of Pharmaceutics of India, APTI, member Royal Pharmaceutical Society of Great Britain, honorable membership. Sir is inspector appointed by Pharmacy Council of India for inspection of institutions. Sir, Sir is inspector appointed by AICT for inspection of institution. Then Sir is member of editorial board of Indian Journal of Pharmaceutical Sciences. Sir is scientific convener from 2006 to 2009 at Indian Pharmaceutical Congress Association. Sir is member of Italian Cyclodextrin League, convener for 5th Young Innovative Choice Competition and Young Research Competition in 2010-11. Sir is expert member at DSIR for inspection of industrial research and development facility. Sir is nominee of Vice Chancellor for appointment of teachers for Mumbai University. Sir is member of International Advisory Board Asian Oceanic Cyclodextrin League. As per awards, achievements, and recognition is concerned, Sir is Research Fellow of Human Resources Development, Junior Research Fellow of Department of Atomic Energy, Senior Research Fellow of Department of Atomic Energy. In 2003, Sir is Fellow of Indian Pharmaceutical Association, awarded at Indian Pharmaceutical Congress, Chennai. Then 2001 Johnson & Johnson USA Research Award with a value of US $20,000. In 2005, Sir received UP Government National Award for an outstanding work done in the area of interaction with industries. Sir also received Maharashtra Fellow for Medical Sciences in 2006. Sir is awarded with Best Teacher Award in 2007 from University Institute of Chemical Technology at undergraduate level. Sir recognized as a Distinguished Teacher Award by Maharashtra Pharmacy Association. In 2009, Sir received incentives to meritorious teachers, Dr. K.H. Garga Reward, Board of Governors, Institute of Chemical Technology. As per the publications of concern, Sir has published 180 national international research papers in the Journal of Repute, along with 10 patents at his account, 200 research presentations at various conferences, international symposium. Sir having a Google Scholar citations of 8,734, along with H index of 48 and I-10 index of 123. So definitely this wide research and development experience along with the teaching experience in the field of pharmacy. Sir is the renowned professor, and definitely today's topic of Sir, which will enlighten us, that is needed, that is nothing but accreditation assessment criteria. Sir is going to talk on RISE, that is research, innovation, consultancy, and extension, how that is being impactful for the institutions as well as the individual researchers and PhD scholars. So this is very brief information about the Sir. Sir, your experience will definitely enlighten us. Kindly, I first of all I welcome. Kindly proceed with your session. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you very much for that introduction. At the outset, I would like to thank the organizer for giving me this opportunity. Okay. I hope everyone can see this slide. So what I'm going to talk today is I'm going to talk on accreditation. Basically, why this topic I have selected is mainly I wanted to speak on uh, outcome-based education. That is the theme, a part of the theme of this FDP. So I thought I will select a topic which is related to accreditation, okay. Assessment. That's mainly thing. And the rise subsequently, I will try and explain the importance, research, innovations, consultancy, and extension. So I will touch upon all these parameters. So my content of the presentation is what is the current scenario of teaching as a faculty, what are the questions which are there in the mind. And when we talk of accreditation and when we talk of outcome based education, there is an Washington Accord where India is the signatory. So I'll be talking on outcome based pedagogy, and then I'll be talking more on accreditation assessment criteria, and I will only touch upon four criteria because in 1 hour it is not possible, and then I'll summarize. So if you look at current teaching scenario, you know, I don't know how many of you agree with me, but then yes, there is a lack of motivation. This is what is the trend, which is in general, which we have seen. Student may feel that they don't have the chance to express their interest and the skills using traditional education systems. So they feel attending the course an obligation, mandatory. Okay. So that is what is the present scenario. Most of the teachers, most of the students, they lack motivations. Okay. They lack directions where they will be heading. So student will spend more time and effort learning sometime which will not help them later. Okay. Maybe what they have studied may not be useful to them in the later stage. So there is a lack of career directions. And whenever they are in the class, they are most of the time they are passive listener. What it means is a student merely absorb the information what is taught in the class, and student have to learn with the pace of the teacher. So most of the time teacher maybe don't look at whether the student is a slow learner or a fast learner. Okay, so student will have to learn with the pace of the teacher, and this is what is the current scenario. And the use of authorities, teacher use their authority making all the decisions concerning the student, leaving student with no room to express themselves. Now this can widen the gap between the teachers and students. Now this is another difficulties, when we talk of teachers teaching current scenario. Okay. So now we know this is the situations, okay, and we are today into outcome based education system. So what are those questions which we have in mind? Maybe how can we motivate the student? How can student think about what they are doing, not just focus on getting it done? And how can we get student to really understand the material and not just pass the test? Most of the time you have seen student, if you ask some difficult question, they may not answer. Okay. Is this education is internationally recognized? This is another question. So when we talk of international recognition. There is a Washington Accord, and according to this, how do we build mutual understanding amongst the nation? Okay, about the quality of the student who enters globally connected workplace. Now, this is maybe in short what do you mean by this Washington Accord. India, as I said, is the signatory, and as per this, we need to follow outcome-based education system. So basically what is required here is that when we talk of our student entering a globally connected workplace, that means a workplace where anybody from any country can join. So there you require a quality, okay, which is in par with other students. So how do we build a mutual understanding? That is what is a Washington Accord, which is established in 1989, an international accreditation agreement. Okay, so what is Washington Accord? Is an international accreditation agreement for professional academic degrees between the bodies responsible for accreditation in its signatory countries. So as I said, India is one of the signatory countries, and our accreditation body, as per this, is the National Board of Accreditation. So basically what we are trying here is, we are trying to arrive at an equivalence of the program which is accredited by those signatories, and it covers the undergraduate degree under the outcome-based education approach. So, as I said, we have signed this, and thereby we are responsible, okay, to follow the outcome-based education system. So, as I said, the accreditation body is the National Board of Accreditation. So their mandate is establishing a culture of outcome-based education in institutions that offer engineering course, pharmacy course, management course. So wherever these courses are offered, as per the NBA, there is a mandate that we need to establish a culture of outcome-based education. Okay, so that is the mandate. So if you look at the outcome-based pedagogy, where we call it as outcome-based education, is a student-centric, that focuses mainly on measuring the performance of the student as an outcome. So which includes not just the knowledge, but also skill and attitude. So when we talk of what are those principles of outcome-based pedagogy, so the principle is to meet the standard of education. So basically we define here as graduate attributes, which indicate that the program objectives are satisfied, and that is what is, then we call it as the program is accredited by the accredited body. Okay, so the principle is to meet the standard of education, okay, which is well defined. Also, to meet the standard of professional competence. That means you require to give training and experience to the student. So we are talking of a global competency here. So we need to develop students who are well trained, well experienced, maybe so that they can compete with respect to the workplace which are globally connected. And the third principle is to observe the code of conduct and maintain the competency. That means you need to practice. Okay. So these are the outcome based pedagogy principles is to meet the standard of education, to meet the standard of professional competency, and to observe the code of conduct. Now let me move further. So today, if you see accreditation, I've given a picture here. It's a race basically. So current scenario is you gear up for inspection. So you do a lot of hard work, done voluminous work, completed your maybe a mock evaluation. And the fear of data reproduction and representation. So this is the current scenario. So they say accreditation is not just the stamp. Many of the institutions may be applying for an accreditation and maybe to get a stamp that okay, your course is accredited. But according to me, it's not just a stamp. Okay, it is basically a process of quality assurance, and always we consider it as an improvement whereby an institute or a program offered by the institute is critically appraised. It is critically appraised to verify that the institute or the program continue to meet and exceed the norms and standards prescribed by an appropriate authority. Okay, so basically it is nothing but a process of assurance, okay, and improvement. Okay, so you assure that the norms and the standards are meeting, okay, and there is always a scope of continuous improvement. So there are several bodies you can see who come somewhere or the other in the picture. Okay, maybe an EICT, maybe a UGC, maybe you get an NIRF ranking. Okay. But as I said, the outcome-based education in our country where the accreditation body is National Board of Accreditation. Okay. So let us see the significance of the accreditation to make awareness about the weakness of the program. Now, believe me, once you start preparing for an accreditation, especially we call it as NBA accreditation, for a program we call it as UG pharmacy program. Okay. Okay. You will come across various parameters, and in that process there is an awareness, and you will come to know where you are strong and where you are weak. Also, there are a number of parameters of accreditation where you will come to know about there is a need of innovations, there is a self-evaluations, there is an accountability, This is also a part of accreditation which you will come across. And in a process, you update your curriculum, you need to update your teaching and learning process. Maybe also you need to look into the faculty achievements, the student skill, their ability and their knowledge. And also excel amongst the peer, among the student, among the employer and in the society. And it also signifies the funding, maybe from the industries or maybe government agencies, and also to attain an international recognition of the accredited degree award. Okay, so you can say that the program which was accredited, the degree which was awarded is from the accredited program. Okay, so these are some significance of accreditations. So what I thought today is I will try and touch upon, as per the NBA, what are those criterias where all the institutions who apply for NBA, they need to prepare as per these criteria. So criteria number one, if you see, is the curriculum aspects. Criteria number two is teaching, learning and evaluation aspects. Then you have research, consultancy and extension, infrastructure and learning processes, student support and progress, governance, leadership and management, innovations and best practices. Okay, so what I'm going to touch upon today is the research, consultancy, extension and innovations. And that is how I have given the title as accreditation criteria as RISE: research, innovations, consultancy and extension. Okay, so during accreditation, okay, there is a consideration given on research, innovations, consultancy and extension. Now I would like to spend just additional 1 minute on this slide, maybe to tell all those who are participating. Majority of the institutions who apply for MBA accreditation, I repeat, majority of the institution who apply for MBA accreditation, their score in these parameters are less. Okay, and because of that, I thought I will touch upon in this FDP these four important parameters where the faculty and the institutions and also the student can play a definite role in improving their scores on these four parameters. Okay. So let me start with the research consideration. Okay. Now, basically, most of the institutions where we see the research is not a component. Okay. But I call it as, for a research, there is a prerequisite. Okay. What is required for the research? Okay. So you require a manpower. Now, basically, manpower, where there are two components: faculty, student, and also sometimes the support staff. And what is essential here is the facility. and also provide the resources. Okay. Now, this can be provided by the institute, this can be provided by the faculty. They can create their facility, they can create their resources. Now, when both these components meet together, you can do a very good research related activities. Okay, so this is the prerequisite. Now, those who are not part of the research, maybe I advise them that maybe try and concentrate on the facilities, the resources, and then participate in the research. Okay, you will definitely score some points. Okay, during accreditation, at least not, you cannot think, maybe you don't think from the perspective of accreditation, maybe for an individual growth, from that perspective you can think that yes, there is a need, okay, to take part in the research as a faculty. So what is the role of institutions here? Now, according to me, there has to be a well defined policy for promotion of research and also the promotion of the facilities. So they should have a mission, vision, and the goals. So all the institutions should define, with respect to the research, what is their vision, what is their mission, and what are the goals, maybe a short term or a long term goal. So what they would like to concentrate on doing a research, they would like to come up with some value added research for the industry, or they would like to do a patenting, whether they would like to increase their publications. Okay, so they need to have their vision as well, and the goals. So they should be well defined when we talk in terms of research. Also, the institution should give a seed money to the faculty, okay, to undertake the research. Now, there are other bodies like UGC FRP is there, DST Inspire was there. These bodies used to give some seed money for a faculty, okay, as well their salary, okay, to do research and also continue teaching. So the institute can also give from their funding some seed money for research. Also, institute can encourage the young faculty member. Now, this is really important, okay, where the young faculty member need to be encouraged. So the institution can tell the young faculty member to apply for funding. Also encourage them for improving their research profile in terms of their publications. Also encourage them or provide the platform for collaborations. Okay. So maybe institute can take a lead to sign MOUs with other institutions, industries, nationally, internationally, and collaborate. And also make available the infrastructure which is required for the research. Okay. And generally we see a senior faculty member, okay, share their resources to facilitate research for a young faculty. Also, the senior faculty can suggest their contact, their places where some analysis can be outsourced. And basically, it is the networking, okay, to facilitate the research. So you need to encourage the young faculty member, if you really need to come up with the culture of research. So further, if you want to promote the culture of research, you can arrange many workshops, regular basis, training program on a regular basis, and some sensitization program so that the student get into the research, okay, and do quality research and do quality research. Also, the faculty members can avail maybe a higher studies, maybe they can do postdoc if they have completed their PhD. Now, believe me, all these parameters, these are counted when we talk in terms of accreditation. And why I have selected these 4 points? Because I'm aware that these are the 4 points where many institutions they score less. They score less. So in a maybe larger numbers, if you see, there are institutions, very few institutions who get the accreditation for 6 years, whereas majority of them they get accreditation for only 3 years because they score less in those 4 parameters. Also, the institute can provide these research fellows, maybe a junior research fellow, maybe a senior research fellow, okay, or postdoctoral fellow, or a research associate, or maybe some scientist, okay, who can take part in the research in the institute. So they can appoint these fellows, okay, to undertake research in the institute. Also, when we talk in terms of what institute should provide, so maybe the first thing is about the facility. Okay, so we call it as instrumentation center. Okay, so try and provide the many instruments which are high-end equipment. Maybe in this slide I have tried to show some of the equipments. Then the institute should take a lead to start a incubation center, competency training program. So try and understand the weakness of the faculty as well the student and provide them a competency training program, and finally finishing school. Okay, so these facilities the institute should provide, okay, to have a better output in terms of the quality of research, we call it as. Now, also they count how many departments which are related to that program has some special assistance, like centers of excellence. In past there was special assistant programs was there of UGC. Okay, then cash was there. Then also DST fees programs. There are several centers or several fundings which were given. So through these funding, institute can develop some facilities, and then your output is counted. We call it as academic research matrix, which is counted. So we then see the publications in referred journals. Now today we see there are publications which are coming up in a journal which are not at all well recognized. Okay, so those publications are not counted, believe me. Okay, you need to see the publications. Today if you see NIRF ranking, the publications, when we say of referred journals, like they follow Scopus, they follow Web of Science. Okay. So you need to see your publications which are coming up in a journals which are listed in Web of Science, or they are listed in Scopus. What are the citations? How many books or book chapters are written by the faculty? How many PhD guided by the faculty? Are there any faculty receiving a PhD degree? And basically, the PhD guided and PhD awarded by the institute. Okay. So these are some metrics which are taken into consideration while accrediting in terms of outcome based education. So, most of the time when we see a research, there are many who do research, but then it has to be meaningful. Now, when it is meaningful, only if it is clearly described, someone else can use it, or it attracts other scientists' interest, or it allows the others to reproduce the results. Okay. So basically, we call it as when you do research, maybe you'll have to look into all these criterias. Okay. Many a times people they report which is not at all reproducible. So this is not a good quality research. When we say a research publications, now there is also a need to take into consideration the plagiarism in research. Now, there are many who believes in shortcuts, but then believe me, this is not the way to do research. The plagiarism is considered as a very serious offense, maybe by an institute, by an editor, or also a scientific community in large. So they may result into academic charges where your paper get rejected, not just a rejection, but then you may get a ban for publications in that journal. So generally a plagiarism will hurt your reputations in the scientific community. Okay. So institute should state the code of ethics and check the malpractice and plagiarism in the research. Okay, so this initiative institute can take. At the same time, it is the moral responsibility of the student and the teacher also, okay, to look into the code of ethics and follow that there are no malpractices, there are no plagiarisms, there are no plagiarisms. Then your research publications and the awards. So whether you have a national award, state awards, international recognition, how many patents are granted, okay, how many copyrights are granted, and if at all, if you're doing any biological work related to gene, then any genetic sequence which you have filed, identified and filed. So these are some points which are seen during accreditation when we talk in terms of research. So output of a PhD per teacher, citations, publication per teacher, and the number of reference book published by the teacher. So these are some parameters which are checked during accreditation. So it is the individual responsibility, whether it is student, whether it is faculty, their responsibility, okay, to give their contribution in terms of output, okay, whether it is citation, whether it is number of publications, patents, books chapter. Also, you need to see that most of the time your publication is more in a high impact journal than the low impact journal. Okay, you can have even all 100% publications in high impact journals. Okay. Also look at your number of citations, okay, which are maybe coming through Web of Science, Scopus, PubMed, or from a Google. Okay. So you look at your citations. So this is all about research. Maybe I was trying to convey in this FDP that yes, this is one of the area when we're talking of outcome based, the faculty as well student can contribute in this particular parameter. Now, maybe start involving, the requirement which is required for accreditation when we talk of outcome-based education, and the parameter is research. And it is not that difficult, believe me. Everybody can do research. Only thing, you'll have to make your mind that yes, your input will be counted in the outcome based education, and you need to take part. Okay. Similarly, when we talk of innovation considerations, so the development of new ideas, and not just the development but their economic applications as a new product or a process. Now, this is important when we talk of innovations. There are many who do innovations. There are amples of idea. Okay, so there is no shortage of idea. And the inventions in the world. So there is no shortage. The challenge is to introduce successfully to the market. So you think of an innovation which is more economical. Today, a pharma can do a very good contribution, whether it is a synthetic chemistry, whether it is a formulation scientist, whether it is a pharmacologist or an analyst or a regulator or a pharmacologist. Everyone can contribute in terms of innovations. Okay, so there are no shortage of ideas. Only thing you have to make sure that how successfully you can introduce your innovations in the market. So the role of institution is to create an innovative methods and transfer the knowledge to the society. So institute can conduct the workshops, seminars, okay, on maybe an IPR, maybe on innovative practices which the faculty and student can adopt. So basically, the incubations or innovations where we look at the process of entrepreneurship by providing a comprehensive and integrated support to the entrepreneur. So you need to create that enabling environment, in an institution. Okay, see, it is asked maybe in the outcome-based education, how many entrepreneurs the institute has created, or how many technologies which are innovative and which are transferred to the industry. Okay, so are there any entrepreneur which are maybe generated in last 3 years? Now, most of the time when we ask this question, the answer in many places we get a common answer is yes, we have an entrepreneur who started a medical shop. This is not that what we are looking at. Yes, medical shop is also one of the business, but we are talking here of an innovations, okay, through an incubation center. So incubation center is nothing but a tool to promote entrepreneurship. And Indian government is giving a lot of incentives. They are very aggressive. So the institute must develop an incubation center which is functional. Okay. There are a number of incubatees. Okay, they are doing good work, and their work maybe after a few years are likely to hit the market. Okay, that is what we call it as a functional incubation center. So the outcomes which are measured in terms of number of startups on campus, and also the awards which are won by the institutions or the teachers or the student for their innovations, and the commercialization of their research, maybe through an IPR. So these are some metrics which are taken into consideration while evaluating outcome based education with reference to innovations. Coming to a consultancy, this is another parameter which we see many a time. Institution is doing a testing work. Now we don't consider this as a consultancy. The consultancy is the one where your expertise you are sharing with another party for which you are charging them. Now, when we talk of doing any experimental work, that is, we don't consider as a consultancy, but we consider it as a research project and not the consultancy. So the consultancy considerations are very different, where based on your expertise, you can give your advice to the industry. That is what we call it as the consultancy. So the institute must have definite policies, okay, on consultancies, like any earning which you get, that is, we call it as any revenue which are generated are sharing between the institute and individuals. So we call it as 1/3, 2/3. 1/3 is given to the institute, 2/3 is given to the individuals, faculty. Also, you can provide a consultancy for training of corporates. Okay. So you may come up with a certificate course or maybe a training program of 30 hours, 45 hours, 60 hours. Okay, come up with the modules, okay, which is required for the corporates. And maybe generate the consultancy. So this is what is the consultancy which we consider. And believe me, the consultancy generates the revenue, okay, through industries and through a corporate. So individuals get benefited, as well the institute also gets benefited, okay, by doing consultancy. You can maybe then create additional resources, okay, after doing the consultancy. So whatever revenue which is generated, you can have an additional new resources for your organization. So definitely you can do resource mobilization, okay, by doing consultancy. Coming to the last part, before that, let me complete this. The grants can be generated from industry, corporate house, international bodies, or maybe through endowment chairs. I have listed some of the bodies here, okay, through where you can generate the consultancy. Sorry, not consultancy, the project fund, the grants. So there is a mismatch, okay, between the academia and industry. So one has to look at the mismatch. The academia do basic research, they do applied research, so we need to change. Our research interests are broad, their research interests are very narrow. Okay, we need to look at maybe validating our laboratory invention to commercialize. We need to translate. Generally, we don't do that. We only keep it in the laboratory levels. So there are a lot of emphasis is to be given. Okay, there's a lot of emphasis is to be given. on the market position which industries looks at it. So they would like to remain first in the market. That is how they look at it. They look at their research. They look at their research. Generally, they believe in confidentiality. Their work is mostly classified in the patents, where the academicians, they believe in their publications. They look at the awards. They would like to come up as the brand, whereas the academicians look at the awards. The academicians looks at long-term objective. The industry looks at their short-term goals and maybe capture early the market position. So these are some points which a part of consultancy. Okay, so you need to start maybe a group or orient in a group what are their expertise and then start approaching the industry. Okay, you may fail, but then the time will come the industry and you can meet together and maybe do a consultancy and a contractual research. Okay, and you can develop the product. So you require to have some interfaces, okay, to do this research. Like you can develop some database, some take part in some forum, some platforms, you take part in freshers meet. Okay, so you need to develop extensions, interfaces. So let us see now the last parameter is the extension consideration. Okay, now again in outcome based education system, extension activity is also considered very important. Okay, so whether the institute has created any platform, okay, for student as well for teacher to do any extension activity. When we say an extension activity is basically serving the community. Okay. So you can change the world, but sorry, you cannot change the world, but you can change someone's world. That is by helping them, by serving the community. So you need to sensitize faculty and student on the institutional social responsibility. So their role, the institutional role in catering to social responsibility. So you need to sensitize, the stakeholders towards the community issues. So you need to, tell them what are the issues, inculcate the values and the commitment towards the society. Come up with the processes and your strategies which sensitizes the student to the social issues in their core courses. Like we call it as today one course which is there, we call it as a value education, okay, which is a compulsory course. And a sustainable practice which are useful, for serving the society. Now, this is also, believe me, it's a part of outcome-based education system. Okay, so they look at how good is the institutions and all stakeholders in terms of their roles and their responsibility towards the society, towards the community. So you can contribute maybe in terms of creating an awareness drive, tree plantations. Today, people they talk a lot on environment, maybe a donation camp, cleanup drives, awareness program. You can have a teaching for an underprivileged, joy of giving, like whatever your uh, excess material which is there with you, you can give to others. That is what they call it as the joy of giving. Maybe you can contribute in terms of scholarships, okay, or maybe call a experts, eminent personality who can speak regularly, on a social issues and create that awareness. Okay. So you can contribute as an individual in these extension activities. So generally, when we look at the accreditation process, we look at how many activities a institution has conducted, okay, alone or in partnering with other bodies like NSS, industries, okay, some NGOs. So we look at NCC, NSS, maybe some other bodies. Okay. So you can do this. Today people they do extension activity maybe with some organization like APTI, like IPA. Okay, so you can carry out some extension activity and involve your student. And what is counted here is whether you have won any awards, any recognition for your extension activity. So how many other peoples were involved, like government organization, non-government organizations, okay, and what are those topics, okay, and whether all the students participated or maximum number of students participated in the extension activity and less number of students not participated in the extension activity. Okay, so let me summarize. It's almost 1 hour. Okay, now what I was trying to convey, maybe as a part of the NBA team, okay, it is my personal observations, and I thought we are talking a lot on outcome-based education system, and there are many institutions are applying for NBA accreditations, and my many years of experience and my observations says that these are the 4 important parameters where many institutions they don't do well. Okay, so my attempt was maybe to convey to you the roles of research, innovation, consultancy, and extensions in accreditation. So they say quality education triggers growth and prosperity of the individual as well as the nation. So believe in quality of education. Accreditation is earned through assessing higher educations. So you need to apply for that assessment. So you can invite the body who can assess your outcome-based performance. Okay, so those who have not applied, please apply. You will learn a lot. What is that assessment? And based on your performance, you will realize that there is a need that we need to revise, modernize, and organize our education and research when we talk in terms of outcome-based education. You also need to collaborate. Okay, so the collaboration, make sure that it is not just a slogan, but the reality. You do a good work in collaborations. So when we talk in terms of our responsibilities, our commitment, what they say, it is not only for what we do that we are held responsible, but also what we do not do for which we should be held responsible. Okay, so if you are not taking part in extension, if you are not taking part in consultancy, if you are not taking part in research, you should be held responsible. That is what I'm trying to convey. Okay, because these are some important parameters. Okay, when we are considering the outcome based, believe me, the outcome depends on all these parameters also. So there is a way to do it better. Okay, I find it. Okay, with this, I will end my presentation here. Thank you very much once again for providing this platform and allowing me to speak on the topic of my interest. Thank you. Is there any question answer session? Hello? Hello? Oh, let me call them.
Delegates, if you are having any questions, you can put it into a chat box. I request to delegates, you can put your questions in chat box. Okay, I think there are no questions, sir.
Oh, very nice.
Yes, sir. I extend my sincere thanks to our expert speaker of session 4, a fourth day of e-FDP STP, Dr. P.R. Vavia, sir, who spared the time from his busiest schedule to grace this international program. Today we had an opportunity to hear your thoughts, and this will surely enlighten our future path. Sir, explain a key constituents of accreditation assessment criteria, RISE, that is research, innovation, consultancy, and extension. Sir, you have very well explained the principle of outcome-based pedagogy, Washington Accord, current scenario of teaching and accreditation. Sir, emphasize that accreditation is not just that, it is the process of quality assurance and improvement. Sir, very well summarized the role of RISE and role
There is a
of
question.
consultancy.
Hello.
There is one question, sir. So you can see the question.
No, there is only one question which I see. Is it necessary for any collaborations like NGO? No, they can do collaborations with NGO. In fact, it is also counted. There are people who do collaboration. No, believe me, there are a number of examples. I will tell you the examples maybe in ICT itself. So there is a non-government organization, okay, who gives scholarship to our students. And the scholarship, there are 40 scholarship they give to undergraduate students who, and the scholarship amount is rupees 45,000. Now, what they expect from student is, okay, they give them a scholarship, but then the student need to do some community services. So some 20 hours or 24 hours of community services during their term, they are supposed to do it. So it all depends upon how NGO, looks at it. So maybe NGO takes up the manpower, but in returns, they also give in terms of scholarship, fellowship, whatever. So that's a good initiative. You can think of an NGO who can collaborate and you can do some community research.
Okay, sir. I think there are no more questions, sir.
Yes, no more
On,
questions. Yes.
on behalf of Gokhale Education Society, Sir M.S. Gosavi College of Pharmaceutical Education and Research, Nasik. Sir, please accept the certificate of appreciation as a token of our gratitude for your valuable session, sir.
Thank you.
Sir, please accept the certificate of appreciation.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir.
I can leave now.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Dear
Thank you all.
Yes, sir. Dear
Sorry?
participants, the request that feedback link is given in a chat box. You have to fill all the information very carefully because whatever the affiliation and name you will put it, the same will be given in the certificates. So you have to carefully fill it.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
You please forward the feedback to me. Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Whatever.
sir. We will do.
Okay. Thank you.